name is CiAndra Maddox, and this is my presentation on communication and teamwork. Some of our objectives: describe effective communication and teamwork, list barriers, tools, and strategies that affect teamwork and communication, review solutions to teamwork and communication challenges. What does success look like? Because organizations are made up of groups of individuals, we are often put to work in team. So it's important for us to understand best practices and how to communicate and lead and work effectively in a team. How and what we communicate is critical to our success. It takes practice to make sure that we are clear and concise whenever we interact with someone. As the slideshow says, alone we can do so little, but together we can do so much. So as you can see in the presentation here, we have 3 individuals that are all helping each other carry something. And when one individual seems to fall off, the other 2 hold the other one up. And it goes vice versa for every single position. And this is effective teamwork. Is communication really that important? Good leadership starts with good communication. That's where all good leadership comes from. How does this all relate? Communication and teamwork, it works hand in hand. Effective teamwork begins and ends with communication. Use your words. As in the picture, we think the big picture. How does it all connect? How does it all come full circle? What keeps people from effectively communicating? Well, we see this oftentimes. We see barriers in communication. Some of these are psychological barriers. Attitude and opinions, depends on where you're coming from. Filtering and distortion of messages, emotions, status, difference, inattention, closed minds, fields of experience. These are all physical, psychological barriers in communication. Coaches have to sort out individual differences and personality clashes whilst balancing the needs of individuals and the team of their own. So as we can see here in the picture, these team members, they all work together. And in order to work together, they have to be able to effectively communicate in order to win the game. What do we think of this? So the gentleman says, I'm phoning you to let you know that I faxed you to say that I've sent an email asking you to call me. 2 things can destroy any relationship: unrealistic expectations and poor communication. As we see here, the gentleman definitely wants the person to know that he wants to effectively communicate with them. And in doing so, he let them know by every means possible: fax, email, and phone call. I think he's definitely trying to effectively communicate. Might not be on the right way, but he's definitely trying. I'll give him an A for effort. Dealing with different levels of communication, everyone communicates differently. As we see in the slide here, you need to make better your method of talking. That's what the first gentleman says. The other gentleman looks at him with a very peculiar look on his face. Do you mean I need to improve my communication skills? Both of them are communicating, not so effectively, but they're trying to make it make sense. Here's one for the new age. A young lady says to her mom, my teacher isn't qualified to teach spelling. She spells you, Y-O-U. Why not just use the letter U? She spells B-R-B, be right back, return, R-E-T-U-R-N. She spells B-F-N, I don't know what BFN stands for, but she spells it goodbye. That's her way of saying her teacher does not effectively communicate. So as we see, age is a factor and a possible barrier. Look at this. Back in the day, we used 2 cans to communicate. Now the kids are standing there trying to figure out, well, how do you send a text message this way? Another way that we don't effectively communicate and shows diversity. Good versus poor communication. So good communication leads to solution of problems, good relations with clients, satisfaction of work, and self-confidence. Poor communication leads to misconception, misinterpretation, uncertainty, disappointment, lack of confidence, and bad relations. Here we have an example of very poor communication. So we have English as a second language. Tonight's English as a second language, this is what the board says, tonight's English as a second language class has been canceled. Well, clearly if English is a second language, they can't read the English that's on the board, okay? Is your supervisor really communicating effectively with their employees? How about this? The cartoon reads, what if, and I know this sounds kooky, we communicated with our employees? Doesn't that sound familiar to some of us? Some of our supervisors just don't effectively communicate with us, which makes for poor communication throughout the whole entire team. We aren't effectively able to do our jobs because we really don't have a clear, concise guidance of what it is that our supervisors want from us. Here we have some communication myths versus reality. Here's a myth. Communication is conscious and deliberate process. That's a myth. In reality, communication is an uncommon process and it goes on at every moment in time. So that means communication never stops. Here's another myth. We communicate primarily through words only. We know that's a myth because there's verbal and then there's nonverbal communication. All right? Here's another myth. Words mean the same to everyone. That is just not true, depending on where you grew up. You can say pardon, you can say soda, you can say soda pop, you can say can, you can say drink. All these things mean different things to each other, to everyone. The meaning of words lies more in perception of reality and where you come from. Here's another myth. Communication is a one-sided process and it's controlled by the communicator. Well, that's just not true. Communication is a two-way process and it's controlled by the person who is communicating and the person that's receiving. You may say something to me and I could receive it in a totally different fashion. Here's another communication myth. Messages sent and messages received are the same. Transmission and reception of messages can never be identical. That's really what often happens. And that's how we end up not effectively communicating. Often we think we are effectively communicating when in reality it looks more like this. How confused do they look in the picture? Nobody knows what's going on. Everybody looks kind of frustrated. Am I correct? So here we have good and bad communication, and we're going to go with some examples of that. The way good communication is supposed to go, you have the person, that is your channel. How are you communicating? You're sending a message, and then you have those that are receiving the message, and once they receive the message, then they give you effective feedback. That's a form of good communication and how it should work. Here we have another example. The cartoon reads, please make bong us some dash for the dog and bone. But the gentleman says, I don't understand, I only speak English. Wow, isn't that kind of crazy? So they're both talking and it sounds like English, but they're not understanding one another. Here goes more communication skills. So we use good communication skills. Use of good speaking, volume, not too loud, but not too soft. We take turns speaking to one another. I let you speak and then you let me speak. Look at the listener. Look at the speaker. Listen carefully. Use a good speaking rate, not too fast, not too slow. Pronounce words clearly. Answer questions. Ask questions. That's good, effective communication between different people. So good communication versus poor communication. Help us understand a person's situation better. That's what good communication does. But poor communication can create misunderstandings amongst people. Good communication helps to resolve differences. Poor communication can cause conflicts and frustration. Oftentimes we see this in the workplace because of poor communication. People feel certain ways about what maybe John said or maybe what Susie said, but that doesn't really matter. If they could sit down together and effectively communicate and speak with one another and hash out their problems, they might find that both of them are saying the same thing at the same time, just in different ways. So here's one. Communication is about being effective, not always being proper. Do you agree? I'm not sure I agree with that. I think that we can be proper at the same time of effectively communicating. Maybe a little bit sterner and not so soft, but I can communicate my feelings to you without always being misguided. So here, what do we see a lot of times with people? Warning, I'm not listening. By now, some of you have already tuned me out. Why? Because we've been going on for 10 minutes now. But this is how people communicate with one another. And things happen, and you tune things out, and you start to think about other things, and that's not really effective communication as a receiver. You don't receive everything when you do this. So does it happen? Yes, oftentimes. My 12-year-old son, I think that this is how he feels when I'm speaking to him. La 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 la. I don't even think he's listening at all. Can't we have communication without listening? I don't think so. Listening is an act of love. It's a give and take situation when you communicate with someone. What I do know about supervisors and businesses is that if they communicate everything they can to their associates, the more they know, the more they'll care. Once they care, there's no stopping them. This quote comes from Sam Walton. He's the owner of Walmart. I think he knows a little bit about something. Listening and talking to my teammates has helped me learn the NBA game. I know that talent can only take me so far. That's a quote from Paul Pierce. He's an NBA player. I think he would know a little bit about teamwork and communication, working effectively with one another. Communication can be broken down into two main types. You have verbal and nonverbal communication. Here's some origins of body language. Body language is nonverbal communication. It's believed the ability to read a person's attitude, thoughts, by their behavior was the original communication system used by humans before spoken language evolved. Body language is a product of both genetic and environmental influences. Blind children will smile and laugh even though they have never seen a smile before. Wow, how does this come across? What does this body language look like to you? Looks like an argument's ensued. Looks like she's pointing fingers at him. Looks like it's not my fault, it's all your fault. Looks kind of, we can kind of tell what's going on there just from their body language. The definition of body language. It's about matching what you see with what you hear in the environment, surrounding the situation, and drawing a probable conclusion. Nonverbal communication takes place by means of facial expressions, hand gestures, head movements, eye contact. In general, body language expresses an individual's emotions, feelings, and attitude. Again, it's nonverbal communication. Nonverbal is saying a lot right now, correct? We can feel without even seeing the facial features on these individuals what's going on right here just in these two scenes. So understanding body language. Body language is considered to be an outward reflection of a person's emotional condition. Each gesture, movement can be a valuable key to an emotion a person might be feeling. Depending on the situation, try to interpret what the person may be thinking or feeling. Let's look at these. So in the one, everyone is smiling except for one person. And then we see, what would it look like if all the team members were all happy all the time? Looks like they're all working together. Here, it looks like they've got some tug of war going on. But it takes both sides to build a bridge. So what's good communication? We have some coordination, accuracy, timeliness, confirmation, and information. Information, who needs to know what? That's the information that we need to get out to each other. Confirmation, make sure that the right people have the information that they need. Timeliness, a message delivered too early or too late may add confusion. Accuracy, the wrong message may be worse than none at all. Coordination, keep others informed on what they need to know without overburdening them with unnecessary information. Communication is what makes a team strong. Without communication, a team will not be strong. I know for me, in my reserve unit, we have a very large lack of communication. We go for 30 days at a time without seeing each other. We go for 30 days at a time without receiving an email. And then boom, come Saturday morning, we have 30 days worth of work to do in 2 days. And that's really a big problem. It comes down to lack of communication. We have emails, fax, text messaging. Nobody uses this information for 30 days. And then we wonder why we're still at drill at 8 p.m. at night. So here's the process of communication. Communication is the process of sending and receiving information among people back and forth. And I think we saw that in some of the earlier slides. 7 C's to communication: completeness, consciousness, consideration, clarity, concreteness, courteous, correctness. All these tie into each other. We have to completely communicate and know that we have told them everything that we want them to know. We have to be very concise, very precise with the things that we say. And then we have to consider other people's feelings and how they might effectively take that communication and turn that around. Clarity. You always want to be as clear and concise as possible. And you want to make sure that it's correct when you send your communications. So no defects in the communication that you send. You want to have any errors. You want to make sure that it is good to go. And courteous. You always want to keep in mind who is your audience when you send this. And again, make sure everything is correct. You want to go over that one more last time. So just try. That's my motto. Just give it a shot. Just try. Effort is so attractive. Just try to effectively communicate with others. What great listeners do. In order to effectively communicate, you also have to be a great listener. So we're going to ask questions and promote discovery and insight, interactions that build self-esteem. We're going to cooperate and conserve. We're going to make suggestions and skillfully go ahead and open up an alternative paths. We're going to find out ways to be a good listener on all levels with each other. And we can go through this and discover other things to do. We're going to create a safe environment to discuss. Clear away distractions and make eye contact. Understand the substance. Ask questions and confirm. Observe nonverbal cues. Understand emotions and feelings about the topic. Help others. We can do all of this as we effectively communicate. So we know now that communication is a huge part of teamwork. If we can get down to communication, we can go with teamwork. And we know that communication and teamwork as a whole, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Here, this shows teamwork. This says we're all hands. We're all in. We're all going to join in and work together. So the cartoon says, could you hire some other employees? The ones you have don't get along with me. Does that sound like that gentleman is all about teamwork and getting in together and getting things done? Absolutely not. So here, with teamwork, we want to identify targets, work together, pool our ideas, strategize, manage conflict, increase efficiency, and improve performance. That's what success looks like. What is teamwork? The 3 C's. Communication, cooperation, courage, phrases. I like that. A good plan. I like that you decided to do blah, blah, blah. Could we try this? What if we? Oh, I have an idea. That's what teamwork is. Everyone jumping in together to make it work. A chain is only as strong as its weakest link. In teamwork, all the members should try to be strong. They should all try to support one another. A weak member influences the success of the overall team. And here we find that you need effective communication and teamwork to make this work. So the doctor says, and that is why we lift on 3, so the patient doesn't fall on his butt. So what are the challenges to teamwork and human performance improvement? Teamwork can involve a host of challenges. Human performance improvement solves problems inherent in teamwork by focusing on common areas. Knowledge, resources, process, information, support, wellness, acknowledgement, trust, leadership, efficient communication. So what do we see here in the video? We see that everyone is working together to keep the ball in the air. That's teamwork. What do we see here? We see a bunch of team members. They're holding up signs: respect, team, communicate, listen, and trust. Who better to show us how to effectively work as a team than ants? We see ants. Ants build a whole entire farm, a community, and they all constantly work together, no matter what, to make things happen. Effective teamwork requires cooperation rather than competition within teams. Trust, reciprocal faith in others, intentions and behavior. Cohesiveness, a sense of we-ness, strength of a team member, desires to remain part of the team. And here we see team members sitting down, working together to make things happen. Guidelines for a group or team. Listen to each other. Don't interrupt. Ask questions. This will generate information. Participate with interest and enthusiasm. Encourage each other. React to ideas, not people. Assign work to each other. Make decisions together. Support and trust teammates. Why teamwork is important? Teamwork benefits both diverse teams, people of different areas of expertise, ages, genders, cultures, and genres, and dispersed teams, people working in different locations and time zones. And it achieves the following. It promotes diversity of opinion. It provides checks and balances, creates broad-based understanding, empowers individuals, and encourages a common goal. All in all, together, we can make a massive breakthrough. Teamwork. Thank you so much.